Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this one, we'll be unboxing and reviewing the brand new Godox Hybrid High-Speed Sync Flash LED light. Thanks for watching guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hypop. Visit our website, hypop.com.au. Let's get into it. So we're excited to have the brand new Godox FV150 high-speed sync hybrid LED light with us here today. This is the retail packaging here. So you can see it comes in a white and orange Godox box. On the side here, you've got just the branding Godox FV150, and on the back here it has a list of features, etc. Let's jump into the box and see what's included. So the size of it is about the same as a flash strobe that you get from Godox. And inside here at the top, you can see we have a Godox warranty card. We've just got a little QC pass card and also the FV150 instruction manual. Now inside here we see the flash immediately, so there's the light there, all packaged up in plastic. And we've got a standard Bowens reflector here, that's a 7-inch reflector. We've also got an AC cable here, so that's just the standard kettle cord or a IEC cable. And also a remote control, so this is the RC-A6 remote control. We've seen this remote control with other LED lights from the Godox range, such as the SL200 and the SL range of LED lights. So taking a quick look at the LED light, there we have it. So there's the LED light there. It looks like it's a really high quality build. It's got this really nice yoke bar, and overall it's got a lot of heat vents here, and it's also got a fan at the bottom there. So let's take a closer look at some of the features as well as all the button placements for this light. I've got the FV150 mounted on a little desktop stand here. So let's take a closer look at some of the features. They have it listed on the back of the box here. So the light itself is really exciting because it sort of bridges the gap between having a flashlight, studio flash, and also an LED light, a continuous lighting set. So previously, if you're jumping between, flash lighting and also video, so you're taking still photography as well as film, you'd have to have two sets of lights. But this light's really exciting because you can actually use this for multi-purposes. It's a really versatile light you can use for flash. You can also use it as a continuous lighting source for your videos or film. It's an indoor light, so it's a studio light that you need to plug into the wall to power, so it's not battery operated. But either way, it's really exciting to be used as a really versatile LED light. So some of the features, firstly, is that that they have listed here on the back. They have it stating that it's the light brightness of the flash is 4 times of other LED lights. So this is the flash mode of LED lights, so there's no real flash modes on other LED lights. Some previous lights that we've seen are perhaps Rotolights, or there are perhaps some new ones on the market, but this particular light is stating that it's 4 times brighter in flash mode than other LED lights. You also have support for high-speed sync up to 1/8,000th of a second. You can produce 10 continuous flashes per second and 8 continuous flashes per second in high-speed sync mode in half power output. You also have the built-in 2.4 GHz wireless X wireless system from Godox. So that means it supports the Godox triggers such as the X1, X2 or the X Pro. And you also have 1/16 to 1/1 or 6.0 to 10.0 power output display in the form of fractions or decimals, so you can jump between those two settings, which we'll show you in the menu. And you can also adjust the modeling lamp brightness from 5% to 100%. So you have a modeling lamp, obviously it's a continuous light. They have a modeling lamp that you can use in flash mode as well. Now in LED mode, you can actually control the light in 1% increments from 0 to 100%. And you also have 8 special effects modes, which is really great. This is built in to the light itself. So other lights such as the Aperture C120D2 or the C300D2, they have lighting effects. Even smaller LED lights such as the Bowling BLP1 or there's a Falconized F7 light. They all have special effect modes. But the great thing about this light is it's a flash as well as a continuous light, and also having the effects that you can use for film and for videos as well. So that's really great. Now some design details. They give you a wireless remote. So this remote here controls 16 groups and 32 channels. So that means you can group several of these lights, or perhaps other Godox lights that support the RCA6 trigger here. And you also have a U-type bracket. So you can see the U-type bracket there. That's the yoke bar that allows you to mount this not only on a stand, but you can have this mounted on a wall or a ceiling if you have brackets installed in a studio space. And you also have this really large and clear LCD display at the back here, as well as excellent heat dissipation. So with a light like this, whether you're leaving it on continuously or flashing it continuously, it does tend to produce some heat. LED is really good at minimizing this heat, more so than flash tubes that you previously had in studio flashes. So it's good to see that they've obviously incorporated that into the design with all the heat vents here, as well as the fan positioning at the bottom there. So now taking a closer look at the flash itself. Firstly, you've got this yoke bar that we mentioned, and you've got this really nice turn knob here that allows you to control the tension that you have here on the yoke bar. So even at its loosest setting there, it's not really going really loose. You'd have to apply a slight amount of force there just to move it up and down. Now allowing it to go almost all the way around there, so you can see the yoke bar allows it to go around, but the main issue here is the handle hits the bottom of the yoke bar here. So you have almost 360-degree sort of movement. So you can see they're almost at the top and right back to the top again. And also just at the front here, you can see it's a Bowens mount. So being a Bowens mount is great. That's a really great feature that they've added. Godox do have their own mount. It's called the Godox mount. So having a Bowens mount allows you to use so many different lighting modifiers, such as softboxes, barn doors, reflectors just like this, and all sorts of different lighting modifiers that you can use. So now there's a protection cap here that they provide. You just need to hold the release knob there and just twist to unlock, just like other Bowens flashes and LED lights. So you can see here it's a COB LED light. It has that single light source chip on board LED, and it also protrudes a little bit out from the casing there. So you can see the casing and the lights protruding out there, and that's great because what happens is when you use reflectors like this, the light actually is positioned sort of more forward, and it allows you to utilize the reflective surface of reflectors such as this, or any lighting modifiers. Some of the LED lights, they've recessed into the casing, and that actually reduces some of the light intensity and doesn't allow for a nice even light spread when using modifiers. So it's great to see that that's included. Now looking towards the back here, you've got the handle that I mentioned. So that handle there is really great just for adjusting the positioning of the light. And on the back here, you have a few buttons that we can go through. So firstly, you've got that really big LCD display that they mentioned. You've also got some knobs here. One controls the intensity, sorry, that one looks like it's the dim, and that one controls the modeling lamp as well as the FX. You've also got LED or flash, so that's the button there to toggle between LED and flash. You've also got a group channel button to toggle between those two settings if you're using it wirelessly. And you've also got a menu button. You have an on-off switch here, that's your dead switch, and also the test button there, so that's for test firing the flash. Now you've also got a sync port here. This looks like a 3.25mm sync jack. So you can use that to plug in any third-party triggers. So if you're using non-Godox triggers, you can plug that in. Or you can also plug in a sync cable if you're wanting to connect that via cables to a camera, and that way you can fire that as well. And lastly, you've just got the port here to plug into your kettle cord for the power. And just above that, there's actually a fuse section here, and there's also a spare fuse that's included inside. So let's jump into the menu and how the flash works, and have a look at all the different features that this light has. Let's turn this on really quickly and have a quick look at all the different menu options. So firstly, hitting the dead switch here, turning that on. So right now it's in flash mode. So what you can do is actually toggle between the flash mode and the LED mode. So that's with this left button over here. You can see it has two options. So when you press down, it goes into LED mode, and when you press again, it jumps back into flash mode. Now the other button here is the group channel button, which you can press, and that highlights the group there, and you can cycle the different groups. So you can go between A all the way up to 9, I believe. So yep, you can jump in between there. And then also when you hold that down, long press, you jump into the channel there, so you can see that's flashing, and you can switch the channel options there. And then jumping into the menu. So firstly, you've got ID. So this is your wireless ID. And when you press down on the right button here, which is the dim button, it actually cycles on the different wireless ID channels. So that's good if you're using multiple lights and you're wanting to control them independently. It's using the 2.4 gigahertz wireless X system, or you're using the RCA6 remote. But if you're using multiple lights, it's good to set different IDs to them if you're wanting to control them independently and ensure you don't have any interference as well. So the second option here in the menu is actually fractions or decimals. So you can actually switch between fractions or decimals when using the flash option. So that there is a decimal setting, and then you've got the fraction setting there as well. So that's a different menu option. So you can see that's in fractions right now. And when you jump into that setting and switch it over to decimals, and then hit down to set. Now when you jump back into the flash, you can see that's gone into decimals as well. So decimals, some people prefer to use this. It goes from 6.0 to 10.0, but that's completely your preference. We'll just jump back into fractions there. Okay, and then you've also got a test button here. So this is currently in the flash mode. Test button. So one thing to note for the test button is it doesn't have an audible beep. So other flashes have an audible beep. So this is typically used for models, for example. So when they're changing poses, they use that as a prompt to change their pose. So that's a bit of a downside there, where it doesn't actually have a beep when it flashes off there. And lastly, you've got that sync port that we mentioned. And that's pretty much it for the flash settings. So in the flash setting, this particular knob here on the left large knob, you can press down and it actually controls the modeling lamp. So the modeling lamp can go from 5% up by 1% increments all the way up to 100%. So you can see that's quite bright and it's probably blown out now. We'll just turn that back down. So having the modeling lamp option is great. Obviously, it's using that single light source there as the sole point of light. So you have the modeling light doubling up as your flash as well. So when you have the modeling light lamp on, so let's just put that back on and change the percentage, so say 10%. When we hit test, what you notice is the actual light turns off and then it flashes. So because it's still using that same light source as the modeling lamp as well as the flash light as well. So, but you can see there's quite a few continuous shots that you can fire off. This is only on the 1/16 setting, so it can fire off pretty much continuously without any recycle time. Now jumping into the LED setting, you need to just press down on the LED button here, toggle into the LED setting. Now the LED setting controls via this right knob here, so you can actually go to a true 0% here, so the light completely off, and then all the way up to 100%, which you can see there, and that goes up in 1% increments also. So with the different FX modes, you can see there, you just press down on that button there on the left knob to control the FX mode. So right now it's in the FX1 setting, and all you need to do is just spin this knob to control all the different FX settings. So there's a total of 8 settings all up, and you've got, so option 1 is a flash mode, option 2 is a flash mode, and option 3 is a flash mode, so it's flashing at different intervals, and option 4 is a storm mode, and you also have the same for 5 and 6. So 4 to 6 are all storm modes and flashing at different intervals. And 7 is TV mode, and lastly is 8, which is a broken bulb mode. So you can control the intensity of the light with all those different FX modes. Obviously, the higher it goes, the more prominent that effect will sort of look on shot. So those are all the different FX modes. Those are all familiar FX modes that we've seen on several different other LED lights. You know, other lights such as the aperture lights that have all these different FX modes. But it's good to see that that's all included and built in. With other LED lights, they typically have large control panels, and they have, you know, large control boxes hanging from the actual light itself. With the Godox FV150, it's all built into the menu system right here on the back panel, which you can control all there from the back of the light. So now jumping into the wireless controls for this particular light, firstly are all the different remotes that we have here. So this remote here is the one that's included. It's the RCA6, and this RCA6 is the LED remote specifically. So this doesn't control any of the flash options for the light. So if you're wanting to control any different flash options or all the flash options on the light, you'd actually need to use either the X1, the X2, or the X Pro trigger, which we also have here just to demonstrate. So firstly, let's take a closer look at the RCA6. So this one here controls the LED mode. So right now, we've got that paired up. So all you need to do is just set your channel and your group setting. We've got it at channel 1, group A, and that's already set up on the menu. And right now, you've got the on-off button with the remote, and you can see I've turned that off there and turning it back on. So that's when the actual light is on itself. On the dead switch, it's on, but you can actually control. So if you had it at say 11% and you hit off, that actually controls the on-off setting through the remote. And then the other simple control, obviously, is just to control the intensity of the light. So once again, you can hold this down to control the intensity of the light from 1 to 100% or from 0 to 100%. And what I noticed is that there's actually a slight delay with the remote. So right now you can see it's 6%, but say I'm wanting to have it up to 20%. I can hold this down on the remote up to 20%, but it doesn't change with me, and it has a slight delay once that changes on screen. So you can see it sends the signal, you know, with probably like a 1 second delay. But when you're only going up by 1% increments, it's relatively responsive. But if you're holding it down and fast cycling to a higher setting or a lower setting, there's a slight delay there when the light actually changes as well. So that's for the remote setting for the RCA6, and that's to control the LED function only. Now, if you're wanting to control the flash functions, what you need to have is actually grab an optional X trigger from Godox. So you may have one of these already if you've sort of bought into the flash range from Godox. These are obviously used with all their Godox flashes. They're really popular 8200 Pros, 400 Pros, 600 Pros, all their speed lights, and also their studio flashes. So it's good to see that they've incorporated that functionality into this new light here as well. Now, in terms of controlling it, it's a simple matter of just setting your channel and your group once again. So I've got the X1 here as well. So this is their very first trigger. What you need to do is actually toggle it into flash mode here. So you can't actually toggle the modes with the X triggers. So you can't jump between LED and flash modes. You have to manually do this just via the button here. So you just need to press that there, and you can see it's a 16th strength there. And I'm hitting the test button here on the X1, and that's going off at 1/16 strength. I can press that continuously, and the recycle time is really great because it's not at full output. Now, in terms of just controlling all the different settings, what you'll notice is because the X1 actually goes all the way down to 128th strength, and even the X Pro goes all the way down to 1/256, you actually can't get that low on this particular light. So this particular light here, actually you'll see is the lowest setting is 1/16. So although on your particular trigger it's shooting at perhaps the lowest setting of 1/128, like on the X1, it's actually only shooting at 1/16 there. So I've highlighted group A here, and then I'm cycling through the different options. So right now it's on 1/64, and as soon as I get to 1/16 there, and I start controlling it down to the actual range of the FV150, that's when you'll start noticing the actual menu, the power output settings change there. So let's go over to half strength. So Godox advertises this as 10 continuous flashes at half strength. So let's set that down. Okay, so that's on half strength. Now that's on half strength, and I'm hitting the test button there continuously, and you can see that's not missing a beat there. So that's at half strength, and then you can also obviously go up to full strength. So you got that full range there. So why you would use fractions is because all of the actual Godox triggers are using fractions as well. So it's easier to sort of determine what power output level you have, especially if you're using the trigger, rather than using that decimal point there. But some people prefer the decimal point, you know, if you're familiar with that system there as well. So that's the X1 trigger. Now let's jump into the X2 trigger. Just a quick show of that you can actually use the X2 trigger as well. So you can see that's all synced up. Channel 1, group A, and that's firing as well. And lastly is the X Pro trigger here as well. So the X Pro trigger is probably my preferred trigger of choice. I've got it set to 1/16 here. You can see it jumping between the different settings. So let's jump over into quarter strength there. So that's going to quarter strength, and what I'll do is I'll just continue. I've just got this on continuous shoot, and you can see that go off continuously without skipping a beat as well. So that's the great thing about LED lights, is that the recycle time is typically a lot better. So Godox advertises once again at 10 continuous flashes at half strength. Now there's no real data on what the recycle time is at full strength right now. So we'll update that on the video once that is released. But from what we can tell, this is at full strength now. You can see I've got it on 1/1. When I continuously flash this, it's recycling faster than 1 second. So I'd assume it's anywhere between sort of 0.8 to 1 second recycle time at full output, which is great, because obviously it's an LED light source, so that recycle time is achievable. That's getting into the territory of you know, the 8600 Pro, where it's under a second recycle time as well. So that's just a quick run through on the menu options as well as the trigger options here available for the Godox FV150. So some other things to note about the Godox FV150 are that it has an umbrella mount here positioned at the bottom of the light, and it has a tightening knob as well. So that means you can feed an umbrella through and also mount that and use that as a lighting modifier. So that could be a reflective umbrella, a shoot through umbrella, or perhaps a parabolic umbrella. Also the light stand mount here at the bottom, so you can see that's mounted in its traditional way, which is just upright. You could actually mount that horizontally as well, so you can see there's a hole there that fits a standard 5/8 inch spigot. So what that means is we can actually swing this yoke bar over, just release that completely, and mount that into place there horizontally as well. So that means if you're using a perhaps a wall bracket or a ceiling bracket, you can mount that directly via either the upright position or that sort of sideways position that the yoke bar provides. Now in terms of the functionality of the remote control and resetting, so sometimes you may sort of bump some of these settings and you don't know what's happened and it's not talking to the light for some reason. With the actual remote control on, when you put in some batteries, you can actually hold down the minus and plus button, which shows there that it's the reset function. So you can, so let's for example change the intensity up to 59% there, so you can see the settings have been changed a bit. What you can do is just hold down minus and plus, and that resets it to the factory setting. So you can see there it's gone down to 50%, so this is the standard setting that you would have out of the box when you turn on the remote control for the first time. So you can do that there. You can also hard reset the flash or the light itself. So to do that, what you need to do is you need to hold down the dim button there. So just pressing down on this knob here that spins, just pressing down on that and then turning the light on. And what you'll see is 1.0 there, which means that's just the version number there of the Godox FV150, and you release that and then it puts it on its standard factory default settings here, which at this moment is the 10% intensity of the LED mode there as well. Now this light here is only a 5600 Kelvin light. So you can see it shows the daylight rating there, 5600 Kelvin. So you can actually ignore the fact that it says 3300 Kelvin on this remote here. So this remote, as mentioned, it's the RC8A6, so it's actually used for other Godox LED lights, which is why it shows the color temperature differently there. But this light in particular is only daylight rated at 5600 Kelvin. So some other specs for this light are that the CRI rating and the TLCI rating is 96 plus, and also the lux reading at 1 meter is 12,000 lux. We'll show some of the readings with our own test. So that's 12,000 lux without the reflector. When you add the reflector, obviously the light's going to be a bit more concentrated, so you'll have a stronger reading there. So we'll show some of those up on screen. And overall, this light's going to be great for a versatile light. So if you're after a light that's pretty much an all-in-one, a hybrid light that can flash as well as be a continuous light, so if you're jumping between still photography and you're doing some video or film as well, you can most certainly use this light as sort of your go-to light. But if you're after a light that's going to be overpowering the sun or really a strong flashlight, then the 8600 Pro or one of Godox's flash ranges will probably be a better option. This particular model, the FV150, is not going to be stronger than those types of lights, so if you're wanting to really get maximum output, you'd probably be best looking at a traditional flash. This light's going to be perfect for sort of those multi-use scenarios. If you're just after packing one bag in your kit and you're going to be working indoors predominantly, then this light will definitely be the way to go. You can most certainly use this with battery options as well, but it doesn't support sort of batteries like the MPF series or VLOX, but you'd definitely be able to plug this into a power inverter, for example, or a battery pack like Godox's LP800X. Or if you have aftermarket ones as well, just make sure it's compatible with that particular voltage. So here in Australia, it's 240 volts. In North America, it's going to be 110 volts. So just make sure your power supply supports those voltages. So for more videos just like this, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Feel free to leave in the comment section down below your thoughts on the Godox FV150. Are you as excited as we are about this particular light? Are you going to be adding it to your kit as well? And also, don't forget to subscribe to us and follow us on social media at Hypop, and visit our website, hypop.com.au. Thanks for watching.